During COVID-19 and beyond, when we reinvent life and live in virtues, we find fulfillment. Hi, my name is Navy and welcome aboard. I'm here with my daughter, Mary Lou. Thank you for being here. She is from Annapolis.
Hello everyone. Our first speaker is MJ, who is a United States Navy officer. She is balancing the unique demands of being in the military while also being a mother to two little girls.
Hi, I'm MJ. I'm an officer in the United States Navy. Today I will talk about professionalism as part of our Next Generation Leadership series.
What is leadership? If you Google the word leadership, you get about 2.8 billion results, each definition as unique as an individual leader. It's a difficult concept to define, perhaps because it means so many things to different people. For me, leadership means inspiring others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. It is something that we need to continually acquire and refine, and it requires a lot of hard work and careful cultivation of good habits. I think the first step to becoming a great leader is to master professionalism. Acting in a professional manner enables you to maintain and grow the respect between you and your team, and in the end, this makes you a stronger leader. But how do we maintain a level of professionalism in times of crisis, such as during this pandemic? It is often difficult to act professionally when our personal lives are in turmoil or when it feels like we have lost our sense of control.
There's no perfect recipe or magic formula to be a great leader who possesses a high level of professionalism, especially when we are deep into crisis mode. But today, I'd like to share with you some tips which have helped me stay on track while confronting the anxieties of our time.
Tip number 1. Set boundaries. For those working from home, start by defining a clear boundary between your work and home spheres. This will help you psychologically detach from work at the end of the day and re-enter your home environment and mindset. For example, I did not have a dedicated office space in my one-bedroom apartment, so defining a physical boundary was challenging. But putting on headphones and not wearing loungewear during the day helped me separate my work mindset from my home mindset. Next, creating a schedule and sticking to it also helped me with setting boundaries. It helped me resist the temptation to simply work more hours and allowed me to have time for leisure, exercise, prayer, and to focus on my family. Tip number 2. Set goals. When you're a leader, you're like a ship captain. This means you're responsible for steering the ship, and as such, it's important to make sure you're headed in the right direction on a daily basis. One habit I developed during the shelter-in-place is waking up at 5 a.m. every day. Well, at least until my newborn threw my schedule off. This allowed me some downtime and cleared my head before each day began. The early morning peace helped me set my objectives for the day and gave me a nice little head start, which ultimately helped me work efficiently. Tip number 3. Learn something new. All great leaders have this in common. They are constantly working to increase their knowledge base. On a daily basis, they pour through the world news, stay on top of industry updates, and strive to improve their intelligence because they know it will make them more effective in their work. Believe it or not, you can still grow your career during a pandemic. It just takes some creativity and flexibility. For example, you can attend webinars that relate to your career field or master classes of your special interests. You can also build your personal brand outside the context of an employer. By reinventing yourself and being open to another direction, you are making yourself more marketable. We live in a competitive world, and coming out of a pandemic with a new skill will surely boost your resume. Finally, tip number 4. Shift your perspective. Do not allow yourself to be boxed in by feelings of monotony or boredom. Sure, we are all struggling with the sameness of each day, and we may have slid into unhealthy habits with social media, gaming, or too much Netflix. But what I found really helpful in changing my negative perspective is finding greatness in ordinary life. Saint Josemaria Escrivá taught us to carry out our everyday activities to the best of our abilities, even if the task seems the least promising. He reminds us, it is in the simplicity of your ordinary work, in the monotonous details of each day, that you have to find the secret, which is hidden from so many, of something great in you, love. Thus, whenever I have to tackle the same pile of laundry or read my endless emails, I am reminded that I am not just doing laundry or reading emails. I am, in fact, sanctifying myself while carrying out the same operations of each day. Truly, it is within the mundane that we can seize our greatest treasures. As bleak as the future may look, this pandemic will eventually pass. It may take a while for the world to normalize, but just be patient and embrace the process. Remember, exceptional leaders don't see problems, they see opportunities. Thus, I invite you all to step up to the challenge of using this time to recognize your potential to greatness. Use this time to take on a fresher look at your work. And for those whose careers are on a standstill, use this time to prepare yourselves for what is to come.
And with that, I hope these tips will inspire you to become the best leader and professional that you can be, not only during these unorthodox times, but also going forward.
Our next speaker is a senior in Ateneo de Manila University studying business management. Ever since he was in elementary school, he has always strived for positive change to be of service to others in big or small engagements. Now he is the current president of the Ateneo Management Association. I'd like to introduce my cousin, who I'm very proud of, Connie Camille de los Reyes.
Hello everyone, my name is Connie de los Reyes and I am a student leader from the Ateneo de Manila University here in the Philippines. So regarding my intentional leadership journey, I'd like to think that ever since I was young, I really identify myself as a leader already. I really made it a point to try to become a leader in my little ways. Even if I wasn't the group leader for the little projects or the little school activities and whatnot, I really want to be able to at least have that form of leadership, that form of guidance with everyone around me. And I think part of it is also because my parents really just kept on pushing me to be a leader. My parents used to sell rice, so sacks of rice, and they really wanted me to hone my leadership skills. So they made me in charge. This is me back when I was still in grade school, but they really just pushed me into going around our village, going around our church, and selling our rice. I would hold up flyers and really encourage everyone in the team to go around with me and really talk to everyone out there. And I think it was in those little moments that really defined how I started to become a leader. And of course, it trickled down, or rather it rippled into me being leader for group projects, being class president in some of my sections. And I guess now, as a senior, I'm now the president of the Ateneo Management Association. So that's the premier entrepreneurial organization in Ateneo. I really still try to lead in different ways. And sometimes being the best type of leader is being the best type of follower as well. Thank you, Tita Navy, for this opportunity to talk about intentional leadership. Because regarding intentional leadership, there's always this misconception. Because the typical definition of intentional leadership is being intentional with your vision for a company, being intentional regarding your direction for an organization, for a project. You have to know what you want and really enforce how you want to do it and really push others to follow that direction. And I personally believe that intentional leadership isn't about that. It's far from that. As its namesake, I think we have to put more emphasis on the word intentional. Being intentional about the little things, and in being intentional, be genuine. Be genuinely intentional. So for example, you have to be intentional whenever you're checking up on everyone, conversing with all of your members, really making sure that they're okay. You have to be intentional when it comes to giving good quality feedback that is framed in a proper way, very constructive. You have to be intentional about setting a direction without compromising, of course, your members' perspectives. You have to always acknowledge them. And I think the last but most important thing is you really just have to be intentional about listening to what your members have to say, what your stakeholders have to say, and putting them forward. My road towards realizing this was really far from easy. I'd like to think that it really took a lot of trial and error. Like in everything, there's no better teacher than failure. And I've had my stints wherein I'd like to identify myself as a person who could have been a better leader. I fully acknowledge that I had moments in my life wherein perhaps I was not the best leader that I could be. But I guess it was in these moments that I realized how much I could grow even more and how much I could do to make myself better. One thing that I hope that you guys can take away from this entire talk is that intentional leadership, it's not about the big vision. It's not about the big direction. It's not about the big results of the project. It's about the littlest things. To encapsulate all of those little things, you have to be intentional about putting your stakeholders first. You have to be intentional about being empathetic. Because at the end of the day, if you focus on the little things, you'll get there. Trust me. It'll end up adding up little by little. And there's no better type of growth than constant growth wherein everyone is involved and it's not just you who is involved. I mean, as a leader, of course, we all have our tough moments. We all have our apprehensions about ourselves. But it's in being intentional that will really push you to go outside your comfort zone and be intentional about those little things. For example, before I became president, I was the vice president for human resources. So as HR, I really had to make it a point to get to know everyone. But even if I would like to really consider myself as an extrovert, I really love chatting with everyone and whatnot. But I'd like to think that it really took me a while to get there. I'm not a natural extrovert. I have my moments wherein my social battery gets drained and it's really just tiring. And I guess it was in those moments when I realized if I let myself just go with the flow, if I'm not intentional about things, if I just let myself go through everything as myself right now without really considering about the things that I really need to be intentional about, nothing's gonna happen. I explicitly had to tell myself that I have to be intentional about really making it a point to check up on everyone individually, making sure that all of them are doing well, making sure that their journeys in our organization have been great so far. And I think it's in that. So in being intentional, I think the good thing about it is that it's not just about you being genuine about everything, but it also pushes you, it allows you to be a better version of who you were yesterday. And ultimately, being intentional about your actions and being empathetic towards others will definitely make you a better leader. Not because you're pushing everyone towards the common goal, not because you're pushing everyone to conform to the vision, not because you're pushing everyone to strive for results every single day, but because they see that everything you do has meaning and has a greater purpose. And seeing that will allow them to feel the vision. They're not going to listen to the vision and follow it. They will feel the vision because that way you will embody the vision. So again, being intentional, it's not about intentionally telling everyone, okay, here's the vision, you have to follow this. It's about being intentional about being the best example of your vision, your purpose, and that is the best way for you to become a leader. So that's it for me. I guess those are just some of my little learnings along the way. But of course, I'm still graduating soon. I'm applying for jobs now. And I guess I'm sure that I'll still learn a lot more. And this isn't the end to my intentional leadership journey. But I guess this has been my journey so far. And I'm just really excited to learn more in the future. But again, if there's one common denominator about every single thing that I've learned throughout the past, it's really that being intentional, it's not about the big things. It's about the littlest things that people can easily overlook. And in hindsight, those little things matter more than the big things. Because should you prioritize the little things, such as making sure that everyone's okay, saying hi, saying how are you before a meeting, ensuring that the culture is familial and not toxic, that will take you farther than focusing on a big vision from the get-go. Thank you guys so much, and I hope that you guys were able to learn a thing or two from this small talk. And good luck with your intentional leadership journeys. Here's to growth every single day. Thank you guys!